Hello. Welcome to our channel. Today let's see how to overhaul an IAME X30 engine. This particular engine is seized because the client leaned the carburetor too much while riding. As you can see, the plug is very dry. Let's take the engine out from the cart. First we take off the engine head. Then let's take the engine bore off. As you can see, the piston is not seized. Let's remove the carburetor and the reed block. Then it is time to remove the clutch cover and Bendix cover. After that, insert the clutch locking tool into where the Bendix cover was, and remove the clutch bell. From here, either you can remove the clutch hub and the starter wheel, or the piston off. We decided to remove the piston. As you can see, the small end is also not seized. Let's remove the stator and the rotor assembly. After that, we are removing the clutch hub along with the starter wheel. Keep in mind that the clutch hub nut is left thread nut, so you have to wrench it clockwise to loosen the nut. Let's pull the clutch hub and the starter wheel by using this clutch hub puller tool. These are special tools made by IAME themselves, for X30 engine repairs. Let's remove the Bendix and the starter motor off. After that, drain the gear oil and then measure the crankshaft end play. This particular engine was previously repaired by Grice Racing Engines in England. They have set the crank end play to 0.5 mm. And the client also requested to keep it the same, although it is too higher than the standard. After removing the engine mount, let's remove the gear cover. Finally, let's split the crankcase and take out the crank assembly. As you can see, the big end bearing is seized. And the conrod is also overheated, where you can see blue overheated marks. Let's split the crank assembly first. For this you need a hydraulic press and the crank disassemble tool.
After that, let's remove the bearings.
inner bearing of the balancer, you need to heat up the crankcase. For this, either you can use an oven or a blow lamp or a hot gun like we used. Let's measure the piston. Okay, let's refit the engine. First we have to assemble the crankshaft. Since the big end bearing is seized and the conrod is also overheated, we are replacing the conrod with all the bearings and pins. For this you need a crank assembly jig made for this engine, and a hydraulic press. After that, you can install new bearings. Once you are fixing main bearings, keep in mind that you have to insert bearing shims to adjust the crankshaft end play. For this particular engine we are keeping the crankshaft end play as it is. Then you have to balance the crank. For this you need a crank balancing tool. let's fix the crankcase. Just tighten few bolts and check the crankshaft end play again. If it is in required range, tighten up all the crankcase bolts. If not, take it apart again and adjust the end play by removing or inserting bearing shims. Use a torque wrench to tighten the bolts to the required torque. Then let's fix the oil seals on the gear cover side. Put some rubber grease inside the oil seal to prevent the oil seal lips from overheating. Insert the gears to the shafts, considering the timing marks on the gear wheels and the shafts themselves. Put a new gear cover gasket and fix the gear cover. Then fix the rotor side oil seal and the rotor and stator assembly. Now let's fix the starter motor. After that we can fix the Bendix along with the clutch assembly. Using the clutch locking tool, tighten the clutch hub nut and the clutch bell nut to the required torque. Then fix the Bendix cover. Clean and check the reed block and the reed pedals. If damaged or warped, replace the reed pedals. Fix the assembly with new gaskets. Let's fix the engine mount. Let's measure the new piston and the bore. We are replacing the piston with a new same size piston since the old one had too much clearance. Since we are using a same size piston, we don't have to bore the engine. Instead we just hone the cylinder. If you are replacing with a bigger size piston, you have to bore the cylinder until you get the required clearance and then hone the cylinder. Then fix the piston with new small end bearing and a new pin. the engine cylinder on the engine and fix the O-rings. And then fix the head and tighten the nuts to required torque. Let's service the carburetor. This particular carburetor has a damaged pump diaphragm, so we are putting a new repair kit. After dismantling the carburetor, clean it with brake cleaner. Finally, check the carburetor pop-off and the holding pressure. If it is not in the required range, then replace the needle spring accordingly. Finally, fix the engine to the card and fix all the removed items back and start the engine. Make sure to do a engine running in with additional 2T on the fuel. Thanks for watching.